Hey, 7th grade, it's Mr. Woolley, and I got one more week of distance learning for you guys. And this week it's just some review over some skills that are pretty important. We don't use them all the time, but there's some skills that definitely we could get a little bit more practice in with. So go ahead and get started. All right, our first lesson of the week for week 7 is lesson M, rounding decimals and arithmetic sequences review. All right, so what we're going to do first is look at our decimals, rounding decimals. A lot of times in real life, the most common application of this would be rounding with money. But for now, we'll round to any particular place value. All right, so we'll wrap up our final week of lessons with some areas that we can sharpen our math skills with. First up is rounding decimals. In order to round a decimal, you need to be familiar with the decimal place values. For example, in the place value, or in the number 12.375, the 2 is in the ones or whole number place, 3 is in the tenths place value, and 7 is in the hundredths place value, and the 5 is in the thousandths place value. Remember, anything after a decimal has like that THS in the end of it. So for our first one here, if I was asked to round 12.375 to the nearest tenth, I'd look at the tenths place, which has a 3 in it. Then check the number to the right, which is the 7. So there's our round the nearest tenth. There's our 3. We check that 7 right here. If the number to the right is 5 or larger, you'll be bumping up specific place value. So bump this one up. If the number is not 5 or larger, we'll keep that specific place value the same. Now, since that 7 does fall into that 5 or larger category, we will bump this 3 up to a 4, making our final answer 12.4. If the 7 wouldn't have fit the 5 or larger category, the 3 would have stayed the same. So say, for example, that 7, we'll say it would have been a 1. A 1 is not big enough to bump that up, so it would have stayed at just 12.3 for rounding the nearest tenth. All right, so here's some examples here. Number 1, round 2.04 to the nearest tenth. Well, it'd be 2.0 because the 4 is not big enough to bump up that 0. So check to the right. If it's 5 or bigger, we bump this one up 1, but since that was not, we don't have to worry about it. Number 2, round 3.738 to the nearest hundredth. Well, here's our hundredths place, is the 3. So check to the right. So it would be 3.74 for our answer because this 8 is big enough to bump that 3 up to a 4. Number 3, round 15.6 to the nearest whole number. Well, nearest whole number means the nearest 1. So really, I'm focused on this part right here, the 15. So you check to the right, and there's a 6 there. And that 6 does fit that 5 or larger category, so I'll round this up to a 16. If you think of that in money terms, if you had 15.6, it'd round up to $16 because 60 cents is closer to the next dollar than it was to the 15. All right. Now, our other topic is just arithmetic sequences, trying to find patterns in a set. So a lot of times you try to find like a missing number or the next few numbers of a set or something. All right, so in this example here, find the missing number, 2, 7, blank, 17, 22. In this set, the numbers are always increasing by 5. So if you add 5 to the 7, you get the missing number is 12. So 2 went up by 5. This we don't know, from here we don't know, but this one also went up 5. So we're going to assume that this all goes up by 5 every time. If we do put a 12 here, it does fit the rest of our pattern by going up 5 every time. All right, number 4, find the missing number. You got 63, 59, 55, and a missing number, and then 47. Well, we see the numbers getting smaller. Down by 4, down by 4, and then I'll try going down by 4 here, and it does take me down to 51, and then if we go down by 4, it takes me to 47, so we got the right pattern. Number 5, find the missing number. You got 16 and something, and 40 and 52 and 64. Well, right here it's not really helpful, but it does look like my numbers are all going up. So from 40 to 52, I went up 12. From here, I went up 12. So I wonder if that's the pattern. 16 plus 12 will give me 28. 28 plus 12 gives me 40. So yes, it was increasing by 12. And this can even apply to fractions as well too. You have 14 seventeenths, 12 seventeenths, something, 8 seventeenths, 6 seventeenths. Well, they're all seventeenths in the bottom for the denominator, so you can pay attention to the numerator. 14 went down to a 12, down to something, down to an 8, down to a 6. Well, it looks like I'm going down 2 here, going down 2 here, so it looks like I'm going down 2 every time. I should probably fit that in with a 10 right in here, so 10 seventeenths would be my answer. All right, so there's some examples that you got to take a look at, and I'll give you some sample problems that you can go ahead and try. Here's number 1. I'm going to pause these whenever you feel like it, and then you can check your answers at the end. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. And our answers would have been 19 for number 1. Number 2 is 24.5. Number 3, 78.94. Number 4 is 37. Number 5 is 45. And number 6 is 9.5. And if you want some extra practice with those, that's from IXL D4 and Q2. Thank you. Have a great day.